What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Turf Talk. We are live here on the DSM Twitter channel. You can find us at DSM_media. Make sure to hit that follow button. And then, of course, if you want to be interactive like my man D-Rab is doing, like our girl Terry is doing as well, make sure to check out the YouTube link in our bio. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, share it with your friends, family, any other football fans that you may know that it could enjoy the content. I'm on half your host, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. We're going to get into the Lions-Cowboys Thursday night football matchup, break that one down 44-30. Jesus Christ. See what a Compton offense can do, Scotty. And then we're going to break down the rest of this Sunday slate, get into some of our best bets. It's an ugly slate, guys, so this will not be a long show, but happy Sunday, my brother, and what is going on?
Happy Sunday, my brother. I am feeling pretty good, man, coming out of the weekend. Betting has not been going great this weekend. I'll say that.
Not treating you nice.
Start the show with that, so I'm not super confident in what's going on today with some, if not all, of this slate. There's some good matchups, but just some up and down performances from teams this season, which it'll be interesting to see how it plays out today. But happy to be here with you. Happy we got some live viewers in here today already in the comments, and stay active. We love to get active with you guys in the comments. It makes the show easier for us, especially with a slate like this. So help us out. We do appreciate you. But happy Sunday, my brother.
Absolutely. Whatever you guys want to, man. But let's start that Thursday night matchup. Detroit moves to 8-5 on the season, keeping their playoff hopes alive, keeping their division hopes alive as well, as the Bears lead the NFC North with 9 wins, and they play Green Bay today. So that division is not over for Detroit. But Dallas, man, 6-1 now. That kind of puts a wrap on their season. One would imagine, unless this Eagles quote-unquote collapse really continues and Dallas wins out, I cannot see them squeaking into the 7th seed, into a wild card. I believe San Fran's in the 7 hole right now with 9 wins. So Dallas has a lot of ground to make up now from that point of the season, and I just don't see it happening. What was your biggest takeaway in this one, man? I'm Amon-Ra kind of last minute kind of thing. You know, everyone thought he was out all day, and then pregame warm-ups, he's out there getting it going. Detroit, 109 yards, so we were wrong on that 125 combined rushing yards, but yeah. Goff was really good. Dak was really good. Obviously, 2 picks, some deflected balls, whatever. But what's your biggest takeaway from this Detroit win?
The Cowboys defense is not fixed, and I think that was very clear coming out of this game. When you see the way Detroit was able to move the ball, the way Jared Goff was able to have success against that Cowboys defense, and the Cowboys defense down the stretch, they really just didn't have any answers. Ultimately, for Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra was able to make some big plays down the stretch. Jameson Williams had a great game. Tesla got into the end zone. So they were finding ways to move the ball. To your point, they didn't have to run the ball super great, right? They didn't have to go over that 125 mark, which is kind of a lower mark, I would say, for the Lions in that duo. But they were able to have success through the air. Jared Goff shows that he is a guy, once again, up and down. Up is a part of that rotation, right? So this was a great game for Jared Goff. On the other side, you did have some inconvenient turnovers, I would say, for the Dallas Cowboys, just being fair to Dak and those 2 interceptions. But at the same time, it was a little bit of that old school garbage time Cowboys flavor, where they, make it close at the end, make you think they're going to come back, and then that defense falters again, just to open the door wide open for Detroit to win the game again. But yeah, I thought it was just a coming back to earth for the Dallas Cowboys ultimately. And you see what they look like when they don't get, every single call. There was a safety in this game that was not called, though, which is just nuts. But
rules analysts hopping on the broadcast going, yeah, this will clearly stand. Ball is clearly on the goal line. And then the refs come back. The ball's clearly completely outside of the end zone. Oh, okay. All right.
Sure.
You guys saw something different.
Right.
I like the energy Rams. I like the energy Eagles Rams NFC Championship. Sure. No, I do agree with you, man. No, that's why, like, when people make such drastic takes and opinions after a week or two in the middle of the season, It's just hard to kind of take them seriously because you're watching it on one hand with the negative with the Eagles, and then you know all the Cowboys, their defense. That defense was never fixed, man. Even in the win against the Chiefs, like we mentioned, Mahomes was great. Those wide receivers were great. They gave up 28 points. The offense obviously did their job, and this one 44 to Detroit. So that defense was not fixed at all.
No, I completely agree. And also in this game, you lose CeeDee Lamb. I believe it was to a concussion.
I'll be right back.
Got you. You also lose CeeDee Lamb to a concussion in this game. And it didn't look good from the replay I saw. I did see, I think it was a doctor on X retweeted it, kind of showed the replay, and he was having those twitch movements with his hands, kind of like Tua when he was concussed a year or so back. But hopefully CeeDee Lamb's all right. We'll see what that turns into, if that turns into a multi-week type of injury or whatnot. But ultimately, Dallas falters once again. Don't think you could put too much blame on the Cowboys offense outside of those 2 turnovers. But the Lions kind of, reignite their flame and get going in the right direction. So we'll see where it goes from there. Remy checking in, Eagles versus Rams NFC Championship. We'll see, man. The Eagles, the Eagles do still have some confidence to reinstill in me. I say still as if they've like worked their way back towards that. They haven't even gotten close yet. They do have to, kind of like the Lions, they have to go out there and prove themselves again, prove that they can go out and score the football, right? Ultimately, you look at the Eagles right now, they just lost Jalen Carter for a few weeks at least with the shoulder surgeries reported over this last week. So we'll see what that defense looks like without one of its main pieces. It's a lot of work to do for the Eagles. We'll see with the Rams. They got I call it a sneaky game for the Rams today. They play in Arizona against the 3-9 Cardinals. They're 9.5-point favorites over the Cards today. But the Cardinals have played teams tough this season. I feel like they've had a ton of close games this year. They've played a lot better offensively since Jacoby Brissett has gotten the reins at the quarterback position. And so, you look at the Rams last week, they go out, they have a struggle fest against the Carolina Panthers, and they end up losing that game. Stafford turns the ball over, 4 times last week. They end up losing that game by 3 points, 1 point, within 3 points. It's not the end of the world for the Rams. Now, you go to Arizona today, you have another struggle fest or another turnover fest for Matthew Stafford. That's where the concern will start leaking in for the LA Rams, in my opinion. But right now, yes, I think the Rams have stronghold. Stronghold is a bit much. They have a good grasp on the NFC right now. I would say they're in the best shape right now, even with that loss last week. But we'll see where they go. D-Rab says Rams are a lock today. So a lock money line? Sure. I mean, I would agree with that. Do you think a lock is it still a 10-point spread? Let me see. Nine and a half points. Rams, Chiefs, Broncos. What's the rationale? I'm curious. What's the rationale, D-Rab? Rams not going to allow 4th down TDs this week. No spread, just parlay. Rams, Chiefs, Broncos. That's interesting. The Chiefs game is one that I go back and forth on. We'll talk about that. We'll see when Dylan gets back. I know he was drinking last night. He might be a little sick, but I'll wait a little bit before I talk about that game, just because I do think that is. It's not my favorite matchup of the day, but it could be the biggest matchup of the day. In a sense, the Chiefs season on the line, Houston on a 4-game win streak. It's very interesting, but the Chiefs do need it. The Chiefs are at home, to your point, D-Rab. We'll see, man. We'll see. Rams not going to allow fourth down TDs this week. We shall see. Let's start with some of the minuscule games here on the slate. We go to New York, or the Meadowlands, not technically New York, New Jersey. We got the New York Jets hosting the Miami Dolphins. Not too much in this one as far as meaning or as far as it mattering, I guess you could say. But you got the 5-7 Dolphins visiting the 3-9 New York Jets. Miami's 2.5-point favorite in this one. Over under set at 41.5. Miami, they've been playing a lot better recently, of course. They've been running the football with Devon Achane. Obviously lost Tyreek Hill a few weeks back for the season, but they've been finding their way. I do think Miami takes care of business in this game, but the New York Jets, they've been scoring a little bit better. Let me fact check myself here. Let's look at the Jets the last couple weeks. Yeah, so last week you had the win against the Falcons. They scored 27. 10 against the Ravens, not great. But the 27, that was a positive discovery. I think Tyrod Taylor, yes, he does get the start again today. Offense just looks better without Justin Fields. Let's be straight up. The offense looks better without Justin Fields. Seems like they are actually able to throw the ball. Last week, Adonai Mitchell, I know he just came back. He had 8 receptions, 102 yards, and a tutty. They've been using John Mechie a lot more since he got traded from Philadelphia, been getting him involved in the offense. And you look at the Dolphins today, what they've been doing lately. Dolphins coming out of a win against the Saints. Obviously, the Saints 2-10. They beat the Commanders in Madrid. So the Dolphins playing a little bit better. I lean Dolphins in this one just because you do have Tua. You have your starting quarterback. Although Tua hasn't been awesome this year, he hasn't been bad either. He's been solid. And I think the big thing is Devon Achane in this game and their usage. But, yeah, I'll go with the Dolphins in this one. What's up, brother, man?
Bloody nose, brother. Bloody nose.
Oh, man. At least you're not sick. That's better. Like, I think if you were sick, that would be worse news.
Oh, but. Yeah, no. Went like this, and I was like, you got be right back. Where were you? I heard you talking some Jets Dolphins, and I came back. I was like,
Yeah, we're talking Jets Dolphins just to save the better matchups for when you get back. So yeah, I started there.
And what
minuscule game. I picked the Dolphins though, nonetheless, brother.
I saw a tweet earlier that it was like, do you have an interception? And then it was all the team's logos. It was like, yes, it's week 14. And then it was no Jets. So New York does not have a single interception on the year. Shitty game, man. Let me ask you this kind of real quick tidbit in this one. Is Mike McDaniel gone after this year? One would have to assume, right?
Right. Yeah, I think you just have to turn the page, even if they do. It's like, do they get back to 500, I guess? Like, right. You got the Jets today, then you play the Steelers, Bengals, Bucks, Pats to end the season. I guess, yeah, to your point, like, if you win a certain amount of games, does that save his job? I don't know. It's like you either have to switch the quarterback or you have to switch the head coach. Like I'm have
to both if I'm Miami.
To be fair, yeah, that's an option too. I think you at least have to change one. It needs to be a changing of the guard because the current situation, the current core isn't working. I think you just move forward with Devon Achane as the guy moving forward.
Yes, that's one way to build your team around your running back, but
yeah.
Fire sale.
Maybe not the best idea.
Yeah. But no, that game stinks. Yeah. But I agree with you. I would go with Miami in that one, man. But have you touched on Bills Bengals yet, or no?
No, that was the only game we got into so far. Right. So we're good.
Let's get into that one, man. How do you feel? Bengals trying to keep their season alive. 4-8, obviously, would sound like a team that's playoff hopes are dead. But when you look at that division and the way that it's kind of shaping up to end the year with the head-to-head matchups, Cincinnati is going to have a chance to play for it with Burrow back. 6-point underdogs in Buffalo, man. I saw some snow as Joey B was heading into Buffalo this morning. Can Cincinnati win this game outright? Forget the spread. Can they win it outright today?
Yes, to answer your question, simply put, yes, the Cincinnati Bengals can win this game today in Buffalo. It's a big ask of their defense. I think their defense needs to show up. Obviously, they were able to do something positive against the Ravens last weekend on Thanksgiving. They need to have kind of a repeat of that. I do think having Joe Burrow back offensively, being able to maintain drives offensively, holding possession more offensively, right? I think that all helps the Cincinnati defense. It helps them with being able to, play at a high level throughout an entire game. So yeah, I do think Cincinnati can compete in this game. Buffalo, on the other hand, you say it's snowing. It's in Buffalo. Buffalo has been able to run the football really well this season. James Cook has been he's been great, quite honestly. And then of course you have Josh Allen back there with the dual threat. So I do lean Buffalo to win. I do think the 6-point spread is a little much, just given the up and down season that Buffalo's had. And the Cincinnati Bengals, to your point, they're 4-8. They just got Joe Burrow back, so they're not a normal 4-8 team that you're going to face in the middle of a season. So yeah, I think you could even argue that the Bengals are playing with a little juice right now, just getting Joe back, beating the Ravens last week. That was in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, beat them in Baltimore on Thanksgiving. I think it gives you a little bit of juice. So we'll see, man. I do think Cincinnati covers to be fair, but I don't know. I think Buffalo wins at home. They need it more. It's not like Buffalo is locked in the playoffs.
I was just going to say that, man. I kind of posed the question as Cincinnati keeping their playoff hopes alive, which they are. That's what they're playing for. But Buffalo's sitting in the seventh spot right now with Houston on its tail playing Kansas City tonight. You get beyond them. You also have Kansas City and Pittsburgh both with 6 wins. You lose this game, you're 8-5 in the last wild card spot. So things could get real interesting down the stretch for Buffalo. At home, it's a needed game. I think Josh will get it done, especially against that Bengals defense. But I do agree with you. I think with Joe Burrow back, they have a really good chance to cover the 6 points. So, and I would take Cincy with the spread, but I think Buffalo will win it outright.
To your point about Buffalo, ultimately needing this win. You look at their remaining schedule as well. They got the Pats next, and I believe that is going to be in Foxborough. Then you go to Cleveland. Then they play the Philadelphia Eagles in Buffalo, and then you get the Jets to end the season. So Cleveland, once again, we're not going to sit here and talk about the Cleveland game today. We're not going to talk about Cleveland and Tennessee too much here. Cleveland's a tough team, in my opinion, to just for lower level teams. They're one of the tougher teams that I think
defense is so good, dude.
Exactly. Yeah, the defense is ridiculous. So yeah, the Bills need to win this game. To your point, that's a very good point. 8-4. We'll see. What are we looking at next, my man?
Let's see. Let's go Colts Jags at 1:00. Indy on the road, 2.5-point favorites. Does Daniel Jones get the job done today, Scotty?
I've gone back and forth in this one. Did you know Daniel Jones is playing with a fractured fibula or something like that?
Oh, really?
A fractured bone in his leg. I don't know what's up with these quarterbacks, just putting it all on the line. There's some quarterbacks that didn't used to play through sprains, but now we got guys out here with broken wrists, broken hands, broken legs. It's interesting, but him being injured and it being a leg injury causes a little bit of concern for me. Obviously, they struggled a bit last week. I think it being in Jacksonville's played pretty well of late, their defense especially. They have a 3-game win streak right now. I just don't trust Daniel Jones on a half a leg, to go into Jacksonville and win this game today. Jonathan Taylor, if you can get him going, we know what their offensive line is made of. We know it's one of the best in the league, but Jonathan Taylor has been kind of entrapped the last couple weekends, and maybe now is the time for him to break out, but we need to see that happen before I can really put my money on it happening. So yeah, I think, man, I'm gonna go with Jacksonville, just because Daniel Jones when Daniel Jones isn't limited, it's So
It's an interesting line, man. I think I think Vegas is still giving Indianapolis the benefit of the doubt from how that season started. I mean, if they lose this game, what did we talked about them last week? They end up losing this one. They're going to have dropped 4 of their last 5 games. They dropped 3 of those 4 right now.
yeah,
And that schedule continues to be tough for Indy coming down the stretch here. It's a neat game, obviously, for both teams. Looking at the top of that division, Houston, like we mentioned a second ago, right on their tails now after we thought they were dead to start the season. I don't trust Daniel Jones. I do agree with you. I'm just having a hard time also believing in Trevor Lawrence. And like the Jags just feel like a team that can't get out of their own way. Like they'll surprise you and win some games. They beat the Chiefs on Monday Night Football earlier on in the season. They win some games you wouldn't take them in. And then when a big moment comes, it feels like there's always a letdown spot.
I do feel you.
Give me Indy in this one. But I would not touch it. This is too tough of a game to read. And like you mentioned, Daniel Jones, broken bones. I don't love it.
No, that is a fair point though. With Jacksonville, to your point, that Trevor Lawrence doesn't seem to get out of his own way. He could have a meltdown today. You never know. And to that point, you look at the track record, I guess you could say, or the trend. Indianapolis is kind of due for a win in a sense, right? If they are going to be a team that's competing for the playoffs, at least semi-good of a team, they need to win this game, and they're due for a win. Jacksonville's due for a loss in the other end. They've won 3 straight. They're not that great of a team. So yeah, I do feel you. I'm going with Jacksonville, but it should be a close game nonetheless.
Steelers, Ravens, AFC North on the line, both 6-6. Baltimore 5.5-point favorites, man. Obviously, speaking of broken bones, injuries, Aaron Rodgers giving it a go again today. That line's too much, right?
It's so tough with Baltimore because, yes, they can explode offensively and they could beat Pittsburgh, by 10 points plus. But it's just like after watching that meltdown in Baltimore against Cincinnati on national television, and in the way they struggled against Cincinnati's defense specifically, it's a concern. And I am surprised to see that line so wide. I do lean Baltimore in this game. I think Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, they'll be able to find enough answers today to beat a hindered Pittsburgh offense with Aaron Rodgers. But man, if Pittsburgh can get the run game going, if they can get that duo, they it's weird. They have if you're into fantasy football, you can kind of get away with starting both of those running backs in Pittsburgh. It's weird. They're like middling running backs. Either one of them can pop off. I think they both are projected for 12 points each this week. But Gainwell and Warren, they have a decent little duo is what I'm trying to say. No, I feel you. AFC North battle. You never know what can happen in these AFC North games, man, to be completely transparent. I lean Ravens just because they're at home, but I meant nothing against the Bengals last week. So
I am leaning Pittsburgh in this one, man, at least the cover. I don't know if they'll win outright. I just think I'm at a point with this Ravens team. Lamar, no Lamar, healthy, not healthy. I just don't think this Ravens team is very good this year. I think their defense has a ton of flaws that seemed to be okay for about 2 weeks there, and then they came right back down to earth against a good quarterback last week, Joe Burrow. And that offense, man, like you mentioned, to not be able to produce at home against that defense, that's flat out cannot happen. Give me the Steelers in this one. I do like the over. I like over 42.5 or 43.5 in this game. So something to keep an eye on. Game of the week, man, for you. Bears, Packers. I know which way you're leaning, but Green Bay at home, 6.5-point favorites. That line's also 43.5 at Lambeau. I do like the Packers in this one. I think they come out with a statement win. I said it to you last week. The Bears go from 9-3 and in first place in the NFC. I think they missed the playoffs.
That is bold. It is bold, but they're going to be tested down the stretch, especially in division. And these games are going to mean everything for each of these teams. You look at them today, 9-3, going into Lambeau. I just, at the very simplest point of analyzing this game, I just think it's time for Chicago to lose. I think their defense is hampered. We knew about the injuries going into last weekend. Philadelphia wasn't able to take advantage of it. The Green Bay Packers, to be fair to them, have what I would consider a fairly confident offensive coordinator, play caller in Matt LaFleur, that I think they'll be able to get some things done with Jordan Love. And Jordan Love has been playing pretty good football the last few weeks. He's stepped it up since that matchup against Philadelphia, where they struggled to get over 10 points. Since then, they've been kind of rolling lately. So he's been getting all of his receivers involved. You saw what he was able to do in Detroit last week. I just think Green Bay's offense is going to be a little too much, and I do think their defense is going to have success today. I think their defense will do a better job containing that running back duo that they have going on in Chicago. And Caleb Williams, I think they'll put it on Caleb Williams' back to go out there and beat that Green Bay defense. And you know what happens whenever you can let Micah Parsons and that pass rush run free and, just put their ears back and rush the quarterback. Once you get into that position, I think it's going to be easy going for Green Bay. I said to you, -7, right? -6.5. That's a little much. But as I talk to myself through, I don't know. It feels like a good stamping game for the Green Bay Packers as I talk myself through it. So, yeah, I think I actually do like the Packers to win, cover the spread. I like them to dominate this game, quite honestly. Damn, it's got another bloody nose. It's all good, brother. I do like the Packers to ultimately win that game. Terry says the QB that protects the ball wins the game. That's very, very fair in this one. You look at Jordan Love and Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams didn't have a great showing against Philadelphia in that win. That was all those two running backs, Monagai and DeAndre Swift, obviously, and Caleb Williams, he made a throw down the stretch. I think it was to Cole Kmet for a tutty. That was probably his best throw of the game. But other than that, he was pretty bad. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for Dylan. I'm gonna go ahead and get us closed out here. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, the dry, cold air. It is 6 seasons, so I do get it. We'll get the show finished out here briefly. Nonetheless, we were on the Packers and Bears. I'm going with the Packers in that one. I do like them to cover. Got the Rams and the Cardinals. We talked about that one a little bit already. 9.5-point spread is a bit much for me. Just because Arizona has managed to keep games close. But at the same time, you got the Rams who are coming out of a tough loss against the Panthers. Do you expect Matthew Stafford to be that bad again? Maybe the Rams are due for a dominant blowout type of game. Maybe the Cardinals are this far into the season. You're 3-9. Maybe it's time to give it up. Terry says Cardinals pull the upset. Okay, and I don't take that with a grain of salt because you are an NFC West fan. So you probably have a little bit more in-depth understanding of those teams than even myself there, Terry. So I will give a little bit of credit to you. I put a little bit of confidence in that pick. So I was right to call it a sneaky game. Make me feel better about myself there, Terry. Appreciate you. Terry's a San Fran fan for anybody out there that does not know. Has the Cards over the Rams today. Scar. D-Rev with the funnies today. Let's get through the rest of this slate. We got the Sunday Night Football matchup. That's probably the biggest game left. You got the Houston Texans 7-5 taking on the Kansas City Chiefs 6-6. Kansas City 3.5-point favorites at home. This is kind of the last straw, or is this the final nail in the coffin for the Chiefs? If they do not win this game, can we cancel? Can we say they're done for the season? I feel you, Warren. I feel you. I really do. Unless you just have some flaws that teams have found out about. That's all. And it is in division. I think that's what makes it interesting. I think that's what makes it interesting for me. Not to say the Rams are some minuscule team or like they're not a juggernaut in the NFC. It's nothing like that. It's It's just an in-division game. It's just like the Giants walloping the Eagles earlier this season when I thought we were going to have a bounce-back game after we lose to Denver. We go out, we play the Giants on a short week. They lose by double digits to the New York Giants. Mind you, they had Jackson Dart, they had Cam Scatterbo at that time. It's all fair. But, I wouldn't have came into the season thinking, the Eagles are going to get spanked. My opinion, a must-win game after a big loss. But we'll see. D-Rab confident in the Rams winning. We'll see, man. 9.5-point spread is interesting. I think it's a sneaky game. I think the Cardinals are a tough matchup, and I do think that in-division game is going to be tough. I feel you, HP. They do suck. I mean, they're 3-9. I do feel you. Let's just look at some of their games real quick. I want to see if I'm wrong. I want to see if I'm just way off here. So 20-17 to the Bucks. Bucks aren't very good right now. 27-24 with the Jags. 41-22 the 49ers, so they can get blown out. 44-22 the Seahawks, so they can get blown out. Beat the Cowboys by 10, lost to the Packers by 4. So I don't know. Just seems like they've been scoring the ball a little bit better since Jacoby Brissett. They've been throwing the ball a little bit better, a little bit more balanced offensively, in my opinion. But I'm not going to hate on y'all. I think that picking the Rams is very fair. It's very fair. I kind of feel Terry on the Cardinals lean. We'll see. Maybe that's just me as an Eagles fan. I hope the Rams lose. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe, Terry as a San Fran fan, the 49ers are 9-4. Deep down, she just wants them to lose. So I feel you either way. I want the Rams to lose today. We'll see what the Cardinals got. That is fair. To be fair, D-Rab, Jacoby Brissett has been playing better. They really don't have a QB long term, but Marvin Harrison Jr., from my understanding, is out today. So that is a big, big L. They do have, absolutely. What? You are NFC competition. I'm not going to call you a rival yet because you haven't beat us in, 2-3 years. So you got to beat us for it to be a rivalry. But in conference competition, I am definitely hating on y'all. I wanted to point out this wide receiver I picked up, Michael Wilson. He's been cooking for the Cardinals of late. I know MHJ has missed a few games in the last couple weeks, so we'll see what the Cards can do. But this Chiefs Texans game, talk to me. How are we feeling about this game? You got the Kansas City Chiefs at home, 3.5-point favorites. I know D-Rab, you are picking the Chiefs, but what is the idea behind the Chiefs? Is it just backs on the wall? Chiefs need a win. They're getting it at home. Texans have won a couple in a row. Maybe they're due for a loss. I don't know. I've been going back and forth with this game all day. I'll be honest. I'll be transparent with you. Initially, when I did my notes, I did a lot of these notes yesterday, updated them this morning as we got updates with injuries and such. But initially yesterday, I did pick the Texans to win. So that is what I would say is my gut feeling on this game that you could call a toss-up. Chiefs season is over if they lose, period. That's not good for the league. That's fair. You know what it is for me, man? The only reason I'm not saying that narrative or agenda isn't there. It very well could be, and it would fit the scheme. But last week just felt like such a perfect time for the Chiefs to go into Dallas and win that game against the Cowboys. You have the Cowboys come out and lose against the Lions this week. And once again, I'm not saying all of this is scripted or anything like that, but just going by agendas and narratives, they could have kept the Chiefs really alive last week. But to be fair, you come out, you win this game, against the Texans. I guess it reinstills that faith. It creates some drama down the line. I see what you're getting at. Yeah, had to talk myself through it, but I see what you're getting at. The Chiefs come back from 6-6 and still make the playoffs, right? What's their division looking like? I know the Broncos, right? The Broncos are 10-2 right now, I believe. And they play the Raiders today, which, I mean, I'm going to pick the Broncos, obviously, but they've been having some close matchups. It's like they're due for a loss. The other teams just can't get over that hump. The Broncos are due for a loss. I don't know if it comes against the Raiders. But yes, the Broncos are 10-2. So technically, the Chiefs could still win the division. It's obviously a stretch. The Chargers are 8-4. They play the Eagles tomorrow night. Obviously, who do the Denver Broncos play the rest of this season? Got the Packers after the Raiders, Jags, Chiefs, Chargers. So they do got a tough schedule to end the season. Look at the Chiefs. Obviously, you got to take it one game at a time, but you got the Chargers after today's game. Then you got the Titans, Broncos, Raiders to end the season. So it's interesting, man. I'm gonna stick with my gut feeling. I'm gonna go with the Texans. I'm not putting my money on it, although I would maybe put my money on Texans to cover that 3.5. Their defense is just ridiculous, to be quite honest. They've won 4 games in a row, including wins against the Jacksonville Jags. You have the Tennessee Titans mixed in there, but then also the Buffalo Bills and the Colts. You could say they're due for a loss, but I don't know. I just have this feeling Houston's going to put the nail in the coffin for the Chiefs tonight. That's a tough one. My opinion might change by game time. That one's not until Sunday Night Football, so we'll see how I'm feeling around then. I'm not going to even post that as a best bet. That's just a gut feeling type of thing. I do like the Houston Texans defense. It's weird. Davis Mills, he was in. CJ Stroud came back last week, got the W. Davis Mills was in. That offense was rolling. CJ Stroud kind of kept it going a little bit last week. We'll see what he can do this week against the Kansas City Chiefs team that is going to be desperate. Gonna find a way for the Chiefs to pull through. Yeah, no, I feel you. I do feel you. But it's just like, why haven't they pulled through already? Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes maybe they're just not good. It's kind of like the Ravens right now. They're 6-6. The Ravens are a little more alive because of their division and the rest of the team. Like obviously they're leading the division right now at 6-6. But if the Ravens were good, they would have just won at home against the Bengals on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Like if the Ravens were just going to take care of business and win the division because Lamar's back, they just would have done that. So I just don't know that it's like the Chiefs will win because of a narrative, right? If the Chiefs win, it's because Mahomes puts the team on his back, goes out there, balls out, plays MVP caliber game, and torches the Texans defense at home. Like that. That's the way I look at it. But I think reality says the Chiefs just aren't that good. They're not blowing any decent to good teams out, even if they are at home. And the Texans rely on a sturdy defense that should be able to keep them in this game long term. So, yeah, I'm going to roll with the Texans. I do like them to cover the spread, but I'm not going to hate on you guys for picking the Chiefs. Definitely backs against the wall. Who knows? Yeah, no, I feel that. I do think it will be a close game. I'm definitely rooting for your parlay, D-Rab. No hating there. I'm not going against you in that regard. So hopefully that cashes for you. Just briefly, Monday Night Football. I'm not going to get too much into it today because we'll have Eagles pregame tomorrow. Tomorrow evening ish, leading into that game against the Chargers. But we got the 8-4 Philadelphia Eagles visiting the 8-4 LA Chargers. You look at this matchup, the Eagles are 2.5-point favorites on the road. The over-under set at 41.5. Justin Herbert is expected to start despite the broken hand, the hand injury that he had surgery on earlier this week. So they may be hampered at the quarterback position. From what I've read, sounds like they're going to go with a run-heavy approach, which some could argue that's the way you should go anyways. But You look at what the Chicago Bears were able to do against the Eagles' run defense last week. They were able to run all over it, able to go for over 200 rushing yards combined between their two running backs. Does cause for a little bit of concern. No Jalen Carter going into this matchup. Does cause for a little bit of concern. But I think that concern is equal on the other side when you have Justin Herbert basically playing with one hand, starting at quarterback. If Justin Herbert doesn't go, it'll be Trey Lance. We'll see how that goes. But nonetheless, should be a heck of a matchup, quite honestly. Eagles aren't playing good football right now. I think that's what makes it a good matchup because the Chargers aren't by any means, in my opinion, playing good football. They came away with a big win last week, but they're not playing good football right now. Justin Herbert's beat up. The Eagles need to take care of business on the road. They need to get a win. You can't afford to lose 3 in a row. You let the Cowboys right back into the conversation if you go out and lose this game on the road on Monday Night Football. So we'll see how it plays out, guys. But definitely tap in tomorrow night on DSM Media Philadelphia channel. Right here in the comments, you can find us on YouTube. Head over to that channel tomorrow night. We'll be live. Hopefully Dylan's nose will be all right. Maybe the air clears up a bit, and we'll give it a go tomorrow night for Eagles pregame against the LA Chargers. For best bets today, I think we gave out one earlier. The over in the Pittsburgh and Ravens game. I do like both of these teams to score today. 42.5. I think it dropped to 41.5 even while we've been on the show here. I would take it at 41.5, 42.5. I would take either of those numbers, quite honestly. I think the Ravens are definitely going to put up points at home, and I think the Steelers will be much better than what they were last weekend when they were only able to put up 7 points. The other over is ugly as that game is. I know I said I wasn't going to touch on it too much. The Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns over 33.5, minus 115. I do like that as well. Just a sprinkle, right? You don't want to lose money on an ugly game like that. You don't want to lose too much. So just a sprinkle on the Tennessee Cleveland over. I also like T. Higgins to score a tutty today against Buffalo. Just feel like, obviously Jamar Chase got to experience Joe Burrow being back. T. Higgins was out last week. You get T. Higgins back this week. Nice big end zone target. I think Joe Burrow utilizes it today. I think T. Higgins gets in the end zone at plus 180, and it'll definitely help out my dynasty team. So rooting for it nonetheless. But guys, that's going to be it for this episode of NFL Turf Talk. Enjoy the NFL Week 14 slate. There are a few good to great games mixed in there aside from the shitty rest of the slate. Please, please, please enjoy. D-Rab. Strictly business. You can root for bet for whatever. I'm not hammering. No, it's all good. I mean, I just have no hand in any of those matchups, so I'm just rooting for you to make some money. It's as simple as that for me, D-Rab. I appreciate you. Appreciate all of you. Be sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the NFL Turf Talk channel on YouTube. Please help us out. Head over to the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Help us grow over there. And get involved in the next show. If you see everybody's comments coming up on the screen, you want to get involved like that, head over to the YouTube channel, get involved, turn the notifications on. You'll be notified when we go live next. We will be back for the NFL Week 14 recap show later this week, so tap in for that. As I mentioned earlier, Eagles pregame live against the LA Chargers tomorrow night. Keep an eye out for that on the DSM Media Philadelphia channel. Everybody, have a blessed Sunday. Appreciate you. Peace.